Tonight, if you step outside and look up, you could witness one of the oldest light shows in human history. Streaks of fire blazing across the sky at 100,000 miles per hour, glowing trails lingering for seconds after each flash. And if you are lucky, a fireball so bright it lights up the landscape around you like a camera flash from the cosmos. The Lyrid meteor shower is at its absolute peak tonight, April 22nd, 2026. And tonight's timing is special in a way that does not happen every year. Tonight is also Earth Day. And what better way to celebrate this planet we call home than by stepping outside, lying down under the open sky and watching the universe put on a show that it has been performing for over 2,500 years. This is everything you need to know to make the most of tonight, where to look, when to go out, what you will actually see, and the extraordinary story of where these meteors come from. A story that stretches back to ancient China, through the 19th century, and all the way to a comet that will not return to our inner solar system until the year 2276. Every year in mid to late April, Earth passes through a river of cosmic debris, a trail of dust, ice, and rocky particles left behind by a comet that came through our neighborhood of the solar system over 160 years ago. The comet is known as Comet Thatcher, formerly designated C. Year 1861 G1 Thatcher. It was discovered by amateur astronomer A.E. Thatcher in 1861, during its last and only close approach to Earth in recorded history. Since then, the comet has been traveling outward, away from the Sun, heading toward the far edges of the solar system. It will reach its farthest point from the Sun around the year 2070, and then, very slowly, begin the long journey back. By the calculations of astronomers, it will return to the inner solar system in the year 2276. None of us will ever see Comet Thatcher with our own eyes. But every April, we get to see its legacy. As Comet Thatcher traveled through the inner solar system, the Sun's heat caused it to shed material, gases, dust, and debris that it released along its orbital path. That debris trail remains in space, stretched along the comet's orbit, and every year, around April 16th to April 25th, Earth's own orbit around the Sun carries our planet directly through that debris trail. When those particles, most of them no larger than a grain of sand, some as large as a marble, slam into Earth's atmosphere at around 105,000 miles per hour, the friction with the air causes them to vaporize in a flash of light. That flash is what you see as a shooting star. The atmosphere 60 to 70 miles above your head is doing something extraordinary. It is protecting you from a rain of cosmic debris while simultaneously putting on one of the most beautiful shows in nature. NASA meteor expert Bill Cook has described the Lyrids as one of the oldest recorded meteor showers in human history, with observations stretching back to 687 BC. That is almost 2,700 years of humans looking up at this same show. In ancient China, records noted that stars fell like rain during what we now recognize as a Lyrid outburst. Roman records, medieval European observations. This shower has been seen by emperors and farmers, by scientists and shepherds, across more than 100 generations of human civilization. And tonight, it belongs to you. Let's talk about what you will actually see, because managing expectations and understanding what makes the Lyrids special will help you have the best possible experience tonight. But here's what makes the Lyrids special, and why meteor watchers genuinely look forward to them every spring. Lyrid meteors are fast. They enter the atmosphere at roughly 105,000 miles per hour, fast enough that even the smallest particles produce vivid, bright streaks. NASA describes them as fast and bright, leaving glowing trails that can linger for several seconds after the meteor itself has passed. That lingering train is one of the most beautiful features of a Lyrid display, a fading streak of ionized gas that drifts slowly against the stars before disappearing. And then there are the fireballs. Lyrid fireballs are legendary among meteor watchers. They occur when a somewhat larger piece of cometary debris, roughly the size of a large marble rather than a grain of sand, slams into the upper atmosphere. The additional mass produces not just a streak, but a dramatic, intensely bright flash, and a longer, more vivid glowing trail. These fireballs can be bright enough to briefly illuminate the ground below them. They can produce audible sounds, a rushing or crackling reported by observers who have been fortunate enough to be in exactly the right place. On rare occasions, the Lyrids produce what are called outbursts, years in which the rate of meteors spikes far above normal. In 1982, observers were treated to a rate of around 90 meteors per hour, nearly matching the Perseids at their peak. In 1803, an outburst over the eastern United States produced a rate so extraordinary that historical accounts describe the sky as raining fire. You cannot predict outbursts reliably, but the possibility always exists. Every Lyrid peak carries the quiet potential for something extraordinary. This year, the peak falls just before the first quarter moon, meaning the moon will be roughly half illuminated when it rises. This introduces some competition for moonlight in the later hours of the night. The best strategy is to watch in the hours after midnight, before the moon climbs high in the sky and before dawn begins to brighten the eastern horizon. Here is a piece of astronomy that will make your Lyrid experience richer. The shower is named the Lyrids because the meteors appear to radiate from the constellation Lyra, specifically, from a point in the sky very close to Vega, one of the brightest and most beautiful stars in the night sky. Vega is the bluish-white star that shines brilliantly in the eastern sky after dark. It is the second brightest star visible from most of the northern hemisphere, and on a clear night it is impossible to miss. This point, the radiant, is where all the Lyrid meteors appear to originate. If you traced every Lyrid meteor's path backward across the sky, they would all lead back to the same spot near Vega. This is an effect of perspective, similar to the way snowflakes seem to stream toward you when you drive through a snowstorm. The meteors are actually traveling in roughly parallel paths through space, but from Earth's surface, the perspective makes them appear to fan outward from a single point. NASA's Bill Cook has a perfect analogy for how the Lyrids arrive compared to other showers. The Leonids in November, one of the fastest meteor showers of the year, hit Earth essentially head-on. Heliorids, by contrast, are more like hitting the left front fender. They come in at an angle, which means they are very fast, but not quite as extreme as the fastest showers. That slightly different angle is part of what gives Lyrid meteors their characteristic long, graceful trails. For the best viewing, NASA recommends that you do not look directly at Vega or the radiant. Instead, face roughly east and let your gaze sweep freely across as much of the sky as possible. Meteors that originate near the radiant appear shorter and can be harder to distinguish. Meteors that appear further from the radiant, having traveled longer paths across the sky before burning up, appear longer, brighter, and more dramatic. Give yourself a wide field of IEW and let the show come to you. Here is something that adds a dimension to this shower that no other annual event quite matches. Yesterday, April 21st, NASA astronaut Jessica Meir photographed the Lyrid meteor shower from aboard the International Space Station. Aboard an orbital outpost traveling at over 17,000 miles per hour, circling Earth every 90 minutes, an astronaut looked down at the planet's upper atmosphere and captured the same shower that you will be looking up at from the ground. That image of Lyrid meteors seen from space is a perspective that very few people in human history have ever had access to, and it underscores something profound about what you are watching tonight. You are not just watching a local phenomenon, you are watching Earth, your planet, traveling at 67,000 miles per hour around the sun, collide with a trail of ancient comet. Dust. The whole planet is passing through this debris field. The atmosphere is doing its job, burning up particles that would otherwise reach the surface. And from 250 miles up, aboard the ISS, the whole show looks different but equally extraordinary. When you step outside tonight, you are sharing this moment not just with the 2,700 years of human observers who have watched this shower before you. You're sharing it with the astronauts overhead, who watched it from the other direction. Here is exactly what to do to have the best possible Lyrid experience tonight. The single most important thing you can do is get away from light pollution. City lights bleed into the sky and wash out fainter meteors, reducing what you can see from dozens per hour to just a handful. If you can drive 30 to 45 minutes away from your city or town into an area without major light sources on the horizon, your experience will be dramatically better. A rural field, a dark park, a hilltop away from streetlights. Any of these will transform what you see. The best time to go out is after midnight and before dawn on the morning of April 22nd. This is when the radiant, the point in Lyra from which the meteors appear to come, is highest in the sky. A higher radiant means more meteors are visible above the horizon, and the shower's rate peaks in the hours just before sunrise. If you can only go out once, go between 2 and 4 in the morning. That is when the sky will produce the most activity. Bring a blanket or a reclining chair. You want to be comfortable because you will be lying on your back and looking up. NASA recommends lying flat with your feet pointed east. This orients you toward the radiant while giving you a wide field of view across the rest of the sky. Dress warmly. April nights are cold in most of the United States, and you may be outside for an hour or more. Give your eyes at least 20 to 30 minutes to dark adapt. This is the most common mistake people make when watching meteor showers. They go outside, glance at the sky for a few minutes without seeing much, and go back inside. But human eyes need time to adjust from indoor lighting to true darkness. During that adjustment period, your eyes are progressively more sensitive to faint light. After 20 to 30 minutes of uninterrupted darkness, you will see far more meteors than you would in the first 5 minutes. And critically, do not look at your phone during this time. Even a quick glance at a bright screen will reset your dark adaptation and cost you another 20 minutes of waiting. You do not need a telescope. You do not need binoculars. Telescopes and binoculars narrow your field of view, which is exactly the wrong approach for a meteor shower. The Lyrids can appear anywhere in the sky, and the wider the field of view you have, the better your chances of seeing each one. Just your eyes, the open sky, and darkness. If you cannot get outside because of weather, light pollution, or scheduling, there are free online live streams running tonight from sky cameras positioned in Hawaii, Chile, Japan, and other locations with ideal viewing conditions. NASA and Space.com are among the sources hosting or aggregating these streams. You can watch the Lyrids from your couch in real time, from some of the darkest and clearest skies on Earth. Let's take a moment to appreciate the full scope of what tonight represents. The first recorded observation of the Lyrid meteor shower was made in 687 BC in China. Chinese astronomers looked up at this same display and wrote about it, noting that stars fell like rain during a particularly strong outburst. That record is over 2,700 years old. It is one of the oldest astronomical observations in human written history. Since that first record, this shower has appeared every April without fail. It appeared during the height of the Roman Empire. It appeared during the Middle Ages, when people had no idea what caused it. It appeared in 1803, when an outburst over the eastern United States produced such an intense display that eyewitness accounts described stars falling in showers from every point in the sky. It appeared in 1982, when observers recorded nearly 90 meteors per hour in one of the most active modern outbursts on record. Every year, without exception, Earth's orbit carries our planet through the debris trail of Comet Thatcher. And every year, humans have looked up. There is something genuinely moving about this continuity. The ancient Chinese astronomers who recorded the 687 BC display, the Roman observers who watched it over the Mediterranean, the American settlers who were amazed by the 1803 outburst, the amateur astronomers of 1982 who set up folding chairs in dark fields and counted meteors all night, all of them were watching exactly what you are about to watch. The comet that produced all of this debris came through our solar system in 1861. By the time any human being sees Comet Thatcher again, it will be 2276. Everyone alive today, every person who has ever lived, will be long gone, but the debris trail will still be there. And every April, Earth will still pass through it, and people will still step outside and look up. That is the gift the Lyrids offer, not just a light show, a connection to something ancient, something cosmic, something that has been happening long before any of us were born and will continue long after we are gone. Here is the bottom line. The Lyrid meteor shower is at its absolute peak tonight, April 22nd, 2026. The best viewing is after midnight, before dawn. Face east, find darkness. Give your eyes 30 minutes to adjust, and then let the sky do the rest. You may see 10 meteors in an hour. You may see 20. You may witness a fireball that leaves a glowing trail across the sky and makes you gasp out loud. You may be lucky enough to be outside during an unexpected burst of activity. Or you may lie under the stars for an hour, see a handful of quiet streaks, and return inside feeling like you were briefly part of something much larger than yourself. All of those outcomes are good. All of them are real. And tonight, one of the oldest shows in human history is running. Step outside, look up. The Lyrids are waiting. If this helped you prepare for tonight, share it with someone who might want to join you under the stars. And let us know in the comments what you saw. One of the beautiful things about the night sky is that it never stops giving. The Lyrids will remain active through April 30th, crossing paths with the very beginning of the next major meteor shower, the Eta Aquariids. The Eta Aquariids are set to peak on May 5th and 6th, and they are produced by the most famous comet of all, Comet Halley. Yes, the same Halley's Comet that has been observed by humans for thousands of years, that last visited the inner solar system in 1986 and will return around 2061, leaves behind 2 meteor showers per year as Earth crosses its debris trail. The Eta Aquariids in May, and the Orionids in October. So if tonight's Lyrids leave you wanting more, know that the sky has an answer. The Eta Aquariids begin in just 2 weeks, and after that, the Perseids in August, and the Geminids in December. The meteor shower calendar runs all year, and once you start paying attention to the night sky, it is very difficult to stop. But all of that begins tonight, with the oldest recorded shower in human history blazing above you right now at its annual peak. Go outside, the Lyrids are waiting.